Yay, we're live.
Live and direct.
Okay, so thank you for joining us. As you join us, do let us know where you're joining from.
Yeah.
We hope it would be as interactive as possible. Feel free, interact with us, ask your questions if you have any. We're looking forward to having a great time. Okay, so today with you, this is Chidi Akunna.
And this is Victor Akunna.
Thank you for joining us. And we'll be considering what we've captioned, overcoming the fear of marriage. Why eligible people hold themselves back and what they can do about it. So we'll be dealing with the reasons and then preferring solutions. I don't know if you was expectant. Okay, so when we talk about fear of marriage, do you want to tell us a bit why people scared? Why are people afraid of marriage?
There are different reasons why people get scared. So I just want to create a context about this topic. Why did we choose to go around this topic? Why did we choose to talk about this topic at such a time? You know, usually sometimes we've seen counseling singles and counseling people who have married, probably who lost their partners. We've noticed that a lot of them we've seen a lot of eligible bachelors or bachelorette or spinster, like some people call it. You know, they're eligible, they have everything going for them. So, but for some reason, anytime you talk about the subject of marriage, they cringe. There is this fear, there is this uncontrollably irrational fear that just grips them. You know, for some people, they were married before and they lost their partner. And so and they share something special with the partner that they lost. So for them, thinking again about starting all over again is scary. Will I be able to create that kind of memory again? Will I be able to love again? Will somebody else love me like she loved me, like he loved me? Will somebody else look after me? So a lot of reasons why people get scared about marriage.
And for some people, it's just because of the experiences they've seen around them.
Absolutely.
So we'll be touching on some of these things as we go on. Now, the fear of marriage is been captioned with just one word, gamophobia. And that's the fear of commitment. So it's one thing to love somebody. You see some people, I think this is one thing plaguing our generation. So we see a lot of people prefer to cohabit than going to marriage. So yes, I love this person. I want to share life with this person. But when it comes to the point of signing the dotted lines, it's like, no, there's that anxiety. Okay, so it's called gamophobia because that's you taking the next step to committing to this, to say, I'm giving my all now. It's us. We're in this together. So this is where a lot of people, we'll be addressing some of these things as we go on.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the first thing you like to look at is, where is the source of this fear? Where does it come from? All right, so I'm going to talk about one. You know, there are different. We mentioned some of them at the beginning. So first thing, before you can try to resolve an issue, you need to find out where are the sources. You know, that's one thing we're going to look at. Also, we're going to look at the symptoms. All right, so you know, when for example, if you go to see a medical doctor, they will ask you, how are you feeling? They want to find out the symptom. With the symptom, they'll be able to understand what are the different issues. Okay. And then also look at how do you overcome this fear? That is the bottom line. So stay with us, and then we're going to go through all this discussion. So the first thing we want to look at is what is the source of this fear? All right. So one of the sources of this fear is the environment people grew up in. So if you grew up in an environment as a guy or as a lady, you grew up in an environment where from time to time, you'll see your parents exchanging words, exchanging blows, and all those kind of things happening in your marriage, in their marriage, and that's the place where you grew up. Sometimes it may not even be your parents. Sometimes it may be your primary caregiver, the person that influenced you the most.
That's right.
So whatever we are exposed to continuously has a way of shaping our perspective of that thing on anything, be it marriage, be it money. Some of us have some money habits now that we did not develop ourselves. We got them from our parents. How to manage money, how people spend money, what money means, different perspectives. So what I'm trying to say is that your exposure, the marital exposure you got during your formative years can impact, you know, how you see marriage, and that can bring fear into you. Because you'll be asking yourself, I don't want to have this kind of experience. Go on.
No, I was just going to say the other one would be your experience. Probably you've loved before and then he walked out. So to you, you already feel no, I don't trust men. They are not to be trusted. Especially when you invested so much into that relationship. Sometimes when we talk about investment, people think it's just financial.
No.
It's not just financial, your emotions.
Absolutely.
You were in there, you thought this is it. Now I've got this together. And then for some people, when they've walked this far, when they've gone this far with somebody, to think that they have to then begin to answer all those questions about, oh, how is he? And then you're like stuck there thinking, oh, we're no longer together. It does a lot of damage emotionally that sometimes some people don't recover from, and then it haunts them all through. It just carries on. So there's that underlying thing of no, there are no good people out there. There's nobody of the opposite sex who is right, who thinks right, and then you just walk on with that and think, yes, that's
someone says that once beaten, twice shy. So you've when you, for example, we're speaking at one particular session, and then somebody told us that he actually trained a particular lady, trained her, spent money, gave her money, supported her family, in fact, one person even bought a car for the mother, the mother, how do you say it now, mother-in-law to be.
Yes.
And after all that, there was huge disappointment, there was a huge discouragement. So it took him a lot to be able to pull himself out of that situation. Someone who has gone through that experience, traumatic experience, it takes a long time for them to be able to heal. Because they'd be like, if this happened to me in a relationship, what about if it happens in marriage? What is going to happen to me? Where we've gone all far, we've gone 10 years, And sometimes you hear some stories, people say, I don't just love you anymore. After spending 10 years, or after spending 15 years or 25 years, now the children are left home. And so there are different things that hold people back. The next point we'd like to talk about is programming. What you see and what you hear. Programming
just before you jump that,
we've
got some people joining us. If someone is hitting on you here, looking at his wife, thinking to himself, "You're married, right?" Okay.
Thank you so much.
And then we've got somebody else. I'm glad our coach is adding weight. Okay, let's carry on.
Oh my word! Thank you, guys.
Thank you for joining us. Okay,
so
programming.
Yeah, programming. Thank you. I lost my thought for a second there. So programming is the key thing.
Yes.
Now, it's amazing. Sometimes we, on our website, www.foundationforfamilyaffairs.org, we have a session that we created, which is called Romance Story. And I'll tell you why. The reason why we created that program, where we interviewed people who have successful marriages to talk about what they're doing well, how did they meet each other, what are the romantic moves they do, how did he propose, those kind of lovely stuff. Why did we do that? We wanted to say, most time media always projects, oh, this person broke up, this celebrity person broke up, oh, they are talking about they're watching the dead linen on social media, and those are the gory movies, the kind of gory impression that we often see in media. By media, I mean mainstream media. And so an average person who sees that regularly being bombarded, your mind is being bombarded everywhere. So there's a certain way that you begin to build this, and at the subconscious level, you begin to say, if marriage is this horrible, I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to experience this. And so that kind of programming, whatever you hear consistently, once it enters your heart, it comes out in your reality. It begin to shape your belief. That's why you see product like Coca-Cola, no matter how ancient or how old they are, they still do advert because they know that they need to keep pumping in. You need to see it every day, and when you see that, you're going to drink Coke. So same thing. When you keep exposing yourself to a certain kind of information in the media about how marriages are not going well, how this is not going well, very few people are talking about their great marriages. Very few. Those who have great marriages, they're very quiet about it compared to the number of people who have great marriages.
Sometimes it's still because of the fear.
If I talk about it now,
something might go wrong.
Yeah, let's just keep it secret. Yeah. Let's love ourselves secretly. No, flaunt it. There are many people who are looking up to, who are looking for role models. Okay, so that's another point I'd like to quickly look at is now, apart from the fear of marriage, sometimes people have personal reasons why they don't want to get married.
And when we're looking at, of course, you're right. Some of it would be, one of which would be the fear of losing oneself in the relationship. Okay, some people feel, oh, I saw my mom do this, and she throughout the marriage, she was not like the modern woman. So I do not want to get stuck. I don't want to get into this marriage and then I won't be able to continue my dreams with my ambitions because I have to probably forgo certain things to take care of the children. Some people have those concerns. And they're not bad, like we'll be looking at later.
Absolutely, absolutely. For some people, they feel like getting married will create a kind of situation whereby their expectations will not be met. So some people have some expectations, some financial expectations, some sexual expectations, and they're feeling like, what about if, I remember one time we were working with someone and the person, what about if he's not good in bed? I said, hey, you will find out. You guys can work it out. It's something you will learn in the process. All right. There are other things that need to be prioritized. For example, is he the kind of person that makes you feel good about yourself? Some people, if you are dating them, you are in a relationship with them, anytime you're around them, you always feel awkward. You feel like you need to lose your identity. You feel like you need to be, shrink for them to feel comfortable. They're always, making you feel small. So those are the kind of issues you want to begin to think about. Is this person a healthy person? Do I glow in this person's presence? And that's one key thing that people should be thinking about.
Now, when we're talking about this topic, we kind of agreed that it's not wrong to be scared, to be afraid of marriage in every instance. It's about what you do with the fear.
Absolutely.
Yes, I'm afraid of this, but what do I do? Do I then shrink? Do I back out because I'm scared? Or do I begin to step out to look for information, to take the right steps in the right direction, like we'll be talking about shortly? So that's what matters.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's spot on. So please leave your comments, ask your questions. We'll be happy. Thank you, all of you that have been throwing in your questions and your comments. Really appreciate you. Another key point is another personal reason that some people may want is that some people like their space. They don't like people, they like their own personal space. Independence too much to accommodate a different person, to accommodate somebody else. I remember someone told me one time, she's married. She said she lives in a certain city. The husband lives in a different city. She said she liked it like that. That anytime they are together, they're always fighting. So they like, So for some people, they feel, I like, some people, the moment they arrange stuff, anybody touches it, they know.
So my life is already organized. Someone else coming in to
disorganize my life. So for some people, that's the reason. They may not even realize that's their own reason because they're already set. Everything works. They know when to leave work, when to get there. Everything is just, So bringing somebody else may be a little challenging.
Yeah, and sometimes this thing becomes a self-sabotaging syndrome.
Absolutely.
In the sense that you talk with some of these people, they really want to get into a relationship. They desire it. But then when you talk with them, they're all so packaged. The barriers are up. So you begin to wonder how that relationship would work if you eventually get into one. Because some of these things keep you back from even venturing.
Absolutely.
Venturing out to get into a relationship with somebody else.
So just expand on that. You mentioned self-sabotaging behavior. Self-sabotaging behavior is something that you are the one who is triggering it. And how do you know that? Okay, let me give you a broader perspective. Under the topic of symptoms, what are the key symptoms? If you find yourself that anytime you are dating someone, and the moment the relationship start becoming serious, you start behaving in a certain way that sabotages that relationship. So, for example, you've been dating, you guys are just seeing each other from far, and you're kind of feeling each other, you're feeling the vibe, you like the chase. The moment the guy begins to approach you, or the lady begins to show more interest, there is this internal fear that gets triggered. And so maybe you just begin to, maybe don't call her again, or don't return her calls, or don't return her texts until...
Some people even become nasty.
Some people become nasty. Why are you calling me? Why are you bothering me?
Yeah.
So the moment that relationship ends, it's like something leaves them, and they now say, oh, okay, I will try to be better next time. If you see yourself doing something like that over and over again, that's a self-sabotaging behavior. And one of the things that triggers self-sabotaging behavior is fear. When you are afraid of commitment, you are afraid of replicating what you have experienced before in love, or replicating your parents' mistakes or your guardian's mistakes, or you have a certain subconscious fear that you're not even aware of. That is one key thing that you need to be able to, check. So we've talked about what is fear of marriage. All right, we've talked about what are the sources of fear of marriage. Where do people get this fear from? Because once you know the source of something, then you can now look at it personally and be able to look. So when you were going to get married, did you have any form of fear?
Fear? No. Fear of marriage, no. Because the topic of marriage is something I had researched. I was looking forward to it, to be honest. And I think as a young girl, like I've shared this before, I would go into a bookshop, and the first part of the shelves I would walk up to would be the area to do with marriage. And I had read a lot on it. Yes, I mean, growing up as a child, you would see some bad examples. They are there, definitely. Absolutely. And this is why we say it's all about what you choose to focus on.
Absolutely.
Your environment, you could have parents who have working, very good relationship, but and then you would have more people with bad examples out there. It's up to you to decide what to focus on.
Absolutely.
So for me, reading those books, I knew there were marriages that were working. And there was nothing to be afraid of.
For me, what I was concerned about was there were some things I saw in my parents' marriage. I mean, my parents had a good marriage while my dad was alive, but there are some things I saw that I didn't quite like. So what that did for me was that, you know what, I'm going to do it differently. So it motivated me to do something completely different. I didn't even know I was going to be talking about marriage later in life, but it motivated me to do something completely different. It motivated me, like she said, to research. How do you even pick the right person? What do I really want in a relationship? One of the things I found out that what I really want, I wanted someone where whose person I can be myself. I can talk. We can be friends. She's not first my wife. She's first my friend before I don't even think of her as my wife. Maybe when we're going out and they say, "Miss my wife." But in my head, she's my friend. I can spend, now we're in lockdown. All right, so we spend time with each other. That was the time I posted something that said, don't marry somebody you cannot quarantine with. You know, what I meant by that is, don't marry someone you don't enjoy their company. Don't marry someone you can't laugh with. Don't marry someone you can't laugh at their jokes. Don't marry someone whose presence you can't be yourself. You have to shrink. You have to become less of yourself. You need to lose your identity to make them feel special. No.
And this is why if you're in a relationship with someone and you're having those panic attacks, you need to pause and check that relationship again. Why are you afraid? Why are you scared? Why is it that each time you think about doing life with this person, something in you just gets you unsettled? You get so edgy, but you can't explain it. You need to pause, give the relationship some time. Don't just get on. Those are red flags. You need to check them.
Beautiful.
Yes, they might be you, like we were saying earlier, your personal experience trying to bring up, some of those things, but you need to check them.
Another way to look at this fear, is another thing that some people are concerned about is they've started dating somebody and then their friends are telling them things about that person. That in a way it's another way that people actually build fear of relationship. Sometimes it's good that you have people who watch out for you, so that when they tell you stuff, you go and investigate and find out, is this true? Some other times you need to find out where this is coming from. So, because I will explain what I mean. I've seen situations whereby some mothers who love their daughters too much that they are too jealous that another person is coming into their space. So they are feeling like, oh, this daughter is now going away. She's not going to be loving somebody else. Now they won't have time for me. And you see them sometimes unconsciously or consciously sabotaging the relationship.
That's true.
So if they look at the guy and say, oh, this kind of, they're asking all kind of question that create doubts in the heart of your spouse or of their daughters. Sometimes it might not be moms, sometimes it might be dads. So you need to find out, what is this person trying to accomplish? What they're trying to accomplish, they need reassurance that I'm still going to love you. But when I get married, I need to leave you to cleave to somebody else. It doesn't mean that this relationship is not going to be important to me anymore. I'm still going to love you. I'm still going to call you. I'm still going to play the role of a daughter in your life. But I need to build my own life with somebody else. How you go about doing this is very important. That's one thing I also thought I should just throw out.
Yeah, someone was just, I think, trying to go with what you were saying earlier. First, my friend, before my spouse.
Absolutely.
Vital good vibes.
Thank you so much. It's very, very critical in terms of relationship, because now relationship is a two-way thing. So sometimes one thing I've noticed that people that are, when we become dysfunctional, will attract dysfunctional people as well. You know, we've worked with different couples, worked with singles, we've noticed that crazy likes crazy. If you are the kind of person who is crazy in a way, by crazy I mean emotionally irrational, emotionally unstable, you are likely to attract people like that in your space. We attract people to the extent of our healthiness, how healthy we are emotionally. The more healthy you are emotionally, the more your relationship become healthy, because it is the two of us that makes it what it is. Yeah. All right, so we always attract people at a certain level. So it doesn't matter where you start from. It is where you need to go now that matters. So you might have that fear. Yes, what I like to do once that when I'm afraid of something, maybe I'm trying to do something new, maybe it's the fear of the unknown. That's another fear, the fear of the unknown. I've never been married before. How is it going to happen for me? Okay, my parents had a good marriage, but can this guy create this kind of lovely marriage that my parents had? You know, that may just questions you have. These are legitimate questions. Acknowledge those fears. I'm afraid. Yes, I'm afraid. Where do I feel that fear? I feel it in my belly. You acknowledge it, and now, how do I resolve this fear?
What to do about it next.
Yes. Spot on. Yes. All right. The challenge comes when that fear inhibits you from moving ahead. There are different types of fear. There are fears that, you know, like the fear of falling. Yes. What does that mean? Yeah. You have to be cautious. It protects you. There are fears that inhibits. Okay, now you're afraid of failing. Because of that, you're not going to do any new thing. So you begin to shrink yourself to be safe. That's a very dangerous fear. Some people have been heartbroken before. So because of that, I'm not going to let anybody in. So as you're not letting anybody in, nobody can love you. And then you are complaining that no available man, but you are the one who is not opening up your heart. Because to open up your heart is risky. To love is a risk. Love is a risk. So you need to open up your heart. So the first thing first is ask yourself, why did that happen? How come I didn't notice this guy's behavior before he entered my life? How come I didn't? So the question is, what can I do to spot this kind of irrational people much more? How come I keep attracting this type of guys over and over again? This type of lady over and over again. I'm always attracting the kind of ladies that will come to me, take my money and go. It happens once, it happens twice, it happens third times. It shows that there is something in me that keeps attracting this kind of people. So what is it about me that is attracting this kind of people? How can I identify those things and how can I address them? And that will lead us to the next topic.
Okay, so that was you addressing the first part.
Absolutely.
Which is getting to the root cause of it. So once that's been dealt with, then this is me now thinking about how I can get knowledge about marriage. Like I was saying earlier, I sought knowledge. And I think knowledge would help allay a lot of your fears.
Absolutely.
You try to think about how is marriage done. You know, oftentimes they'll say, oh, marriage is that thing when you get in, they just give you the certificate and then you walk the journey. But you can't walk into marriage prepared for it. You know, the more knowledge you have about the thing, the less mistakes you make. You know, when we were courting, when we started the journey of marriage, we would take time to read books. There were times we even read, if it was not possible to read together at the time, we would read individually and discuss what we read. This is you now fine-tuning, you know, your programming from the past. You're upgrading your knowledge on marriage. So marriage is not that thing. Nobody should walk into marriage without preparing for it. No, don't do that. Nobody should do that. So the moment you decide, okay, I have this fears, like he said, you've asked yourself those questions, then you begin to seek knowledge. You need to go after knowledge. And in doing that, you might have to get good models around you. People whose marriages are working. You know, there's something we posted on our Instagram in the course of the week, and we said, you cannot be a negative person and expect a positive person. You can't, because that's negativity. You can't have all of that in there. You see somebody and you're querying, it's not going to be nice. Oh, men are not nice. Oh, men don't treat women good. Oh, men from this area are not like this. You know, once you keep doing that, like he was saying, crazy likes crazy. You begin to attract this thing. You pull them into your space. Law of attraction. You know, as you go, you're dispelling. It's like a magnet, and you're pulling those things into your space. And then it happens, and then you're like, oh, I said it. I always knew it. But you attracted that. But we can avoid these things, you know, by better positioning ourselves with knowledge.
Very, very spot on. All right. So if you have questions, please leave your questions. We'll be happy to answer your questions. Just to add to your point, one thing I've realized that anytime I'm afraid of something that I want to venture out, most times it's my ignorance that is fueling that fear or making it bigger. You know, someone like to break down fear to mean false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. So the more knowledge I have about that thing, I'll give an example. If you're afraid of swimming, all right, you are afraid of swimming. Usually, when you go to the swimming pool, you have a shallow part, you have a deep side where you 6 feet and above, 6 foot down, you know. So what most people do is that they stay on the shallow side if they're afraid of swimming. But why do some people go to the deep part? Why? They're not afraid. They are knowledgeable about how to swim. So if someone stands at the edge of a swimming pool who can swim, and you shove them or you push them into the water, they don't, when they get into it, maybe particularly if they are dressed for swimming, they won't get ruffled. Unless maybe they are wearing suit, and then probably that would be the reason why they won't be happy. But if they are dressed for swimming, they won't be ruffled because they know how to swim. So instead of saying, "Oh, I can't swim, I'm running away from swimming, I'm afraid of marriage, I'm running away from marriage," no, get knowledge. Knowledge dispels fear. I'm telling you, whatever you're afraid of, study it, understand it. If you're afraid of dogs, study it, understand it. If you're afraid of marriage, study it, understand it. It will help you see how irrational your fear is. Once you are skilled about something, fear will disappear.
That's true.
That is why knowledge is so powerful. Once you are skilled and knowledgeable about something, it doesn't matter what it is. We're talking about marriage today. It will disappear. So your fear is, what I'm trying to say is that your fear is directly proportional to your level of ignorance on any subject. Your level of fear is directly proportional to the level of your ignorance on that issue. The more knowledge you get, the more, it's like driving. The first time you're driving, you're like people are talking to you, but after a while of knowing or mastering it, you drive, you're just on auto cruise because you are taking it from conscious competence to subconscious competence. Very, very important. Get knowledge and you set yourself free. Okay. Another key point which you mentioned earlier on is that you said one key thing there is have people around you. All right. Like a quote I like to use a lot. He said, where you're going to be next 5 years from now is going to be a function of the books you read and the people you interact with. The right community, because marriage is contagious.
That's true.
The right community has a way of creating
a good marriage is contagious.
A good marriage is contagious. I wanted to say. Has a way of rubbing off. Remember what we said, that one of the reasons why people have fears is because they were exposed to bad marriages. So you have to consciously dive into good marriages. Look for those who have the kind of marriages. If you are single, look for those who have the kind of good marriage and ask them questions. How did you know she's the one? What do you do when you disagree with each other? You know, find out what are you afraid of. You know, how do you manage your money? Ask them questions and learn. Something that they will say will shift your perspective on that issue and set you free. I'm telling you, knowledge is powerful and association is powerful.
And then the next one you need to do is to reevaluate your perspective on marriage. Evaluate. This is very critical. I'll tell you why. Someone was speaking to me, a young lady, and she was so, like very strong on, oh, I'm going to be married. I definitely will be married. Now listen, and I'm going to have a man who is going to take care of me. And not even 10 minutes into the conversation, she said something that caught my attention. And she said, oh, I don't believe that a man and a woman can be close and not have something between them. So that's, thinking about it, I couldn't help but ask, what do you mean? And she said, no, a man and a woman can never be close and have something between them. And I was like, are you trying to tell me you don't have friends of the opposite sex who are close to you, but there's nothing between you? And she said, it's not possible, Chidi, it's not possible. So I said, that's getting me concerned now. She said, yes, that she tells her friends who are married that they shouldn't let their husbands be around her. Do you see that it's all mixed up? I don't know it's a warped idea. Okay, now your perspective. This is why we're saying you need to evaluate your perspective on marriage. There are conflicting perspectives there. You want something good, you want something healthy. Interestingly, she's from her parents had a wonderful marriage. You've seen this work, but then where did you pick this perspective of two people? It's also messed up, and so I don't know. So this is why it becomes very critical that you evaluate your perspective. What do you really think? What's your perception of marriage? Really, what do you believe about marriage? You need to do that.
Another, just to add something to that, is that sometimes fear has its own good parts. So, for example, you are afraid of failing an exam. It's going to make you study hard, not make you shut down. If you're afraid of something, make it like, for example, a good example I heard about some years ago was Fela Drotoye. It's one top consultant, and then his wife, one of the top beauty consultant as well. Now, both of them came from broken homes, but they made up their mind that they are going to build something completely different. All right. So it doesn't matter the background, what you've seen. Your determination can protect you and make it recreate or create something completely new and phenomenal, such that to become a role model. You guys will become role models for many people. And that leads us to the next point you talk about, creating the right vision. So, because one thing that fear does is that fear gives you vision of the past. All right. So something that happened in the past. This happened to me. It happened to my mom and my dad. It happened to. So it keeps you in the past. When you create your own vision, to say, you know what, I understand. I accept that this happened to us, but I won't allow this experience to shape or color the rest of my life. What am I going to do? What kind of a marriage do I need to create? You ask yourself, where am I at now? Okay, this is where I'm at. I don't have the necessary tools. Where do I want to go? What kind of marriage do I want to create? So once you clarify the kind of marriage you want to create, by that I mean make it as clear as possible. For example, you say to yourself, today is the 27th of September 2023. I am now married. I woke up this morning. I spoke, my spouse just beside me. I can't believe that this, you create it, you make it so distilled, so clear in your head. Because the clearer it is, the better it is for you. And then now ask yourself, so how will I feel when I get here? You ask yourself that kind of question. Why? Because you need to live in that reality. Because otherwise, that emotion of fear, you're going to be pulling your heart to the past. Once you have that clarity, you need to begin to say, how will I feel there? Who do I need to become to create that kind of marriage? Who do I need to create that kind of marriage? So all these are exercises that will pull you. It's part of what we do in our coaching session that pulls you toward the kind of marriage that you want. Before you know what is happening, you notice that the image of the future is more compelling than the image of the past. I think I read in a quote some time ago, someone said, make sure you don't live from your memory, live from your imagination. All right? Live more from your imagination than from your memory. So what is the person trying to say is that don't live from your past errors and past mistakes or past fears about marriage. Think about what are the opportunities of marriage and begin to think about that every day. The more you dwell in it, the more situations and life God begin to organize things to favor you. That's when you begin to notice that, this lady that is even around me. For example, how did I even meet my wife? Do you want to talk about it? Sometimes I've talked about it to some of you who are in our Facebook community, Foundation for Family Affairs. So we've been friends for a long time. We're always talking. I'll tell her, I'm interested in this lady. I want to ask this lady out. I want to ask that lady out. In fact, there was a time I went to visit her, and then I saw a little girl like, wow, this is really. And then I interacted with her. I said, wow, this is a good woman to marry. But I wasn't thinking of marrying her. I wasn't thinking of her for myself, So I just went and I told some of my friends, wow, this lady, if you want to marry a good wife, this is the lady. And I was there, many years ago when we were doing our youth service. All right. So I talked about her and then I just left it, but we kept in touch. And then one day, after some of the relationship I was trying to jumpstart didn't quite work the way I wanted them, and I asked myself a question. I said, these people, they don't even, because the more I knew them, the more I just noticed that, they don't even meet my criteria. And I said, what exactly do I really want? It just dawned on me that the qualities I wanted in a spouse was right before me. And I now asked her out. She ran away and, I chased her down. And then, like they say, the rest is history. So sometimes it's your imagination. You are focusing on the wrong thing. So you keep attracting the wrong people. Whereas what you need is right beside you. All right. So some of these things, that's very powerful. So sometimes you are the one who is even repelling the good relationships around you because you are busy focusing on looking at the wrong thing. So the first thing is, what do I really want? Reflect. What kind of marriage do I want? What kind of a wife do I need to marry to have that kind of marriage? So ask, among my friends, who has those kind of qualities? You'll be shocked that what you are looking for is right beside you. Okay? So that's another key way of tackling fear.
And that leads us to the next one, which I like to say, I would like to put as mind your association. And when we talk about that, that's because your association is your support system. And that's very, very, very critical. That decides a lot. I always say that you cannot be greater than your association.
Powerful.
So you need to, from time to time, sift things. You need to look around. You want to be married. How are the friends around you? Do they even believe in marriage? You want to be married, and the template of marriages around you are failing marriages. It won't work like that. There's something we absorb a lot. We take in things from our environment without knowing. You know, you mentioned the environment at the start. So that's the first point. We take these things in, sometimes in our subconscious, but we don't realize that they manifest later over time. Okay, so you need to mind your association. If I'm not saying you just rip relationships apart right now, but you need to do it with some wisdom. You need to maybe just gradually start pushing yourself, you know, in the presence of people who think healthily about marriage, who have good perspectives about marriage. That's a lot to you. I met a young lady, and we were interacting. At the time we were interacting, she had this whole thing about, oh, I need to marry a man who is tall. He has to be 6'3". I need to marry a man who is this. He needs to have this much money and all that. But unknown to her, this, because she was so set on this, I'm not saying that's bad, that's good. But this is where we, in our courses, will say to people, you need to know the negotiables and non-negotiables. There are things that you shouldn't hold on to so much. When it comes to things bordering on your values, those are non-negotiables. You know, I'm not moving on this, I'm not budging. But when it's something to do with looks and all that, okay, so you begin to think, oh, I want a 6'3" man, and a 5'11" man is there. You might need to begin to think about other things, you see. So she was so set on this, and it was, unknown to her, it was consuming her because she was looking for a man like that. Not realizing that the people around her, there are guys around her that were just as good, were wonderful. And in no time, because I came into her life, thank God, and then I brought some friends around her. In no time, she said, you know, sometimes I would sit down to speak, and those ladies would say some things, and she would say, oh, so, oh, you mean this? It was like, you know, light bulbs started going off. Oh, okay. So I don't need to be so bent on this. And she could see practical examples. Now, these were people with healthy perspectives. It started to shape how she thought about marriage. And then she became flexible. And she's married today, you see. Married to someone who had been in her space.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that goes to support the point that I mentioned earlier. You know, it's very important for you to be able to have a situation whereby you have that support system. You have people that's, you know, you rub mind with. You have people who help you to get better at what you do. Okay. The last point I would like to mention is
someone, I think, asked us to recommend some good books on marriage.
Okay. So, well,
Tim
LaHaye's book. Tim LaHaye's book will help you understand your personality, know who you're getting married to. Gary Chapman, 5 Love Languages.
Things I wish I knew before I married.
Before I got married.
Gary Chapman
as well. 4 Seasons of Marriage by Gary Chapman. Of course, our own books. If you go to our website,
Relationship Red
Flags. If you are single, all right, you get that copy for free when you enroll in our coaching program. So we have some other free books. We have seven romance lives. We have how to attract and keep a relationship. That's also free on our website. We have Dynamics of Marriage. It's an audio book because notice that, you know, busy professionals sometimes they cannot sit down and read, so they like to listen. We have Spicy Romance, you know, and on, and we have books on what do you call it as well, for I think it's trendy themes, okay, for teenagers, and those are some of the books that we can just highlight to you. Okay. I think
she was emphasizing on know the negotiables, your values and beliefs. Thank you for highlighting that.
Thank
and then
you
the non-negotiables.
Non-negotiables.
Okay, an example is your physical appearance and your choice of a spouse. So these are just, you know, those things you won't budge on.
Absolutely.
You just stay on. Okay, and then you have some things that you can. Yes, I have this list, but it doesn't quite meet. So let me consider the non-negotiables. Does this person meet this thing? You know, and then
another good example of your non-negotiable may be something like your faith. I need to marry someone who shares my faith, who shares core beliefs of my faith. Very important. All right. Another good thing that we realize is that helps is don't just rely on the spirit part of things. Okay, I've prayed, I feel that this is the guy. No, go and dig. In those days, what we do, in fact, in my background is in human resource consulting, and one of the things before we recruit people, we do what we call background checks. You need to check out the person you are going to get married. So don't only take his testimony for who he is. Find out, if you're on Facebook, even though now, because you might not be able to have physical contact, but check out their mutual friends and ask questions around. All right, so you know what you're getting into. That is when you see a property, sometimes you see buyers and caveat emptor. Buyers beware. All right, so before, if you are going to buy a laptop, you want to read reviews. You want to find out how is this working. Now you want to marry a human being, a life partner.
Your whole
life with this person. You need to find out more than reviews. Do your own investigation. Find out about them. How are they with money? How are they with the opposite sex? All right. So don't just say, I can't just come and say, oh, I am this, I am that, I am this. Of course, I'm going to blow my own trumpet. But ask around. Before I got married to my wife, they went to my village to go and ask questions about my family. They want to find out about my family lineage. All right. They even sent people to my church to ask in my group, who is this guy? Tell me about you. It's not something new. It's something you have to do to be able to get involved.
And you were saying knowledge deals with fear.
Absolutely.
So with that knowledge, there are less things to be afraid of because you know this person. I know to an extent, okay, this is how this person is.
Very, very important. Can you list the book, please? Okay, we're going to list the books again. I think we're going to leave
okay. We'll try to leave them on the list.
We'll leave them on the list, and then yes, that will
somebody else is asking for that as well. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to list those books. Don't worry. I like the enthusiasm. I like the passion.
Yes,
because
brilliant.
See, one thing about this is that when people write good books, you know what happens? Someone is packaging his 20 years experience in a material, and you are going to sit down in less than 2 hours or less than 2 weeks, and you get that. You have saved yourself 20 years of pain.
Very true.
And that's how powerful a book is. I listen to books, I read books, I listen to books, I watch YouTube videos, I consume tons of information. Because one of the things that some counselors or some coaches believe that, oh, now I'm a coach, I'm immune. No. Even coaches get divorced.
That's right.
We constantly improve. I learn something, I share with my wife. My wife finds something useful, she shares with me. We keep improving. We'll keep improving. We'll keep growing. We'll keep getting better. Because the better you are, the better your marriage. Because you are it's the two of you that bring the energy in your relationship. Basically, that's what it is. Okay, good job, sir.
Someone has a question.
Yeah. How do you deal with bad relationship memories in your fight against fear of marriage? Beautiful. Now, a bad way to handle it is try to suppress it. No. The subconscious, if you keep suppressing bad memories, what will happen is that you're going to bury it in your subconscious mind, and it's going to cause more trouble. Think of it like this. You have a cut in your hand. Rather than treating that cut, you are bandaging it and you're just covering it, suppressing. What will happen is that it's going to decay and it's to leave a scar in that hand. First thing first is to expose it. All right? Get help. Second thing is to replace those positive memories with positive ones. Now, what does that mean? When people enroll on our coaching program, what we do is that we ask them to create the kind of marriage that they want. And then we'll take them through a system whereby they'll be talking about that on a regular basis, meditating on it on a regular basis. It will get to the point whereby that image of a better marriage gains ascendancy, gains control over their subconscious mind. The moment it gains control over that, it takes a long period of time, depending on how the experience that they've had. Those who do it consistently, in fact, we have a routine on where we tell them, do it this way, do it this way, do it. Right? The first thing first, you need to deal with your mind. The moment you remove those bad memories from your mind, you notice that you think about them, you don't feel that pain anymore. All right? Because you have something positive you are looking forward to. Other times is that you need to wish the person well. Yeah. All right? See, the way my wife is now, if I hold that down here and I want to get up to go and turn off the light, I won't be able to get up unless I let her go. So in some people are holding to old bad past relationships like this. And because of that, they can't get up and start a new relationship until you let go. All right, this is like a physical example. Until you let go, you can't free up your hand to do any other thing. I can't free up my mind to move anything. Why? So if you are like this, emotionally or relational wise, you are holding yourself stuck. You are not holding the other person. So you need to let go. Wish them well. Pray for them. Do until you get to that point where you don't feel that pain. I had somebody who had an experience. You know, his printed card, bought wedding dress, and the guy just took her money and eloped. She enrolled for a program. We told her, you need to go through this. You need to do it. She said, no, I feel so pain. You need to suffer. I said, wait, if you don't follow through this process, I can't work with you because this level of venom is going to destroy you. I am your coach. It's my, until I told her I'm going to cancel this program, that's when she took it serious. And I'm telling you, the moment she took it serious and followed some of these steps I've mentioned, she became a completely different person. Why? She became healthy. When you become healthy, people around you will feel, they were looking at her. It's the same lady. It got to the point whereby she had 2 eligible guys who were chasing her down. And she was like, coach, which one should I go for? I said, that's a good problem for you. You know, thank you so much, Kachi. Yeah. You know, that's another thing. 5 Love Language. Yeah, that's one of the books, 5 Love Language by Chapman.
We'll try to leave the list.
Yeah, we'll try and leave the list.
Thank you.
Thank you. Try and leave the links as well for you to be able to get them, you know. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Family Center.
Really appreciate. If you have any question, please post them as well. Okay. I would like to enroll. Yes, we're going to leave you a link on how you can do that. So we can now we'll send you a link so you can enroll. We usually have a free 1-hour session to be able to understand the problem. We call it intimacy builder diagnosis. Why? Because we're not just coaches that just come provide solution. No, let's understand why you keep having a certain experience. Then from there, you can now, you know, come up with a plan. It's an 8-week program, and we'll tell you more about it. So we'll leave information down there.
And she just jumped straight to the next point, which is see a coach.
See a coach.
See a coach.
Very, very important. Why do you need to see a coach? I have a coach. I have coaches I pay to be able to help me. Why? There is something that is called blind spot. Yeah. Your blind spot is something you can't see. You know. So you might be experiencing something you've tried, you've done, read books, you've prayed, you've done all, but the problem persists. That may be a blind spot that you're not even aware of. So a coach has like an helicopter view of what is happening. I can tell you, girl, if this happened, that happened, I can tell you that you need to deal with this. I can tell you that this is. I have someone that, for example, our coach. Every time she's saying, "Oh, this guy did this to me, that guy did it," I told her, I said, "Can you see that all the guys you are attracting, they are either not ready or they are mean to you? Why is that happening? Who is the common denominator in this relationship? All these guys, they don't know each other. All this, you know, for some time is the guys as well. You keep saying ladies are like this, ladies are like this. But after a while, you just notice that you are the common denominator. So there is an internal adjustment, an internal work that needs to be done. Once that internal work is doing, you're going to send the right vibes into the atmosphere. Because at the end of the day, we push.
Bless you, Bolu.
Bless you, Bolu. Thank you so much. You know, she just finished that program, you know, and we thank God. We thank God for her. She's an amazing lady. Thank you so much, all of you. If you have any other question, we'll be happy to to answer them. Thank you so much.
Okay, there's a question. Oh, okay.
Yes.
What does it require?
Yes. What you require is, the first thing is, we're going to leave a link. What you require is 8 weeks. You need 8 weeks of your time. Means that when you go to arrive, by the time we talk about it, depending on what part of the country you are, the world, we have people that will coach in the US. We have people in Africa. We have people. So what we'll do is that we'll have one free session to be able to have a chat with you, know what the problem is, and then we can now schedule 8 weeks. So we have assignment. We have things you have to do. Though the power of the program is in the assignment, because that is where the real engineering and the reshaping of your heart and your thinking is achieved. Once that is achieved, you need to see a different perspective, a different view. You might come into that program timid, broken because of the past experiences. You come to that point where you tell yourself that it's not every man that can marry you. Why? You've come to that realization of who you are. And so you are sending the right vibes. You're not sending the kind of vibe that, hey, woe is me, I need help, and you keep attracting people that are predators. That's the reason why. If you are leaving blood in the water, you attract sharks. If you keep attracting sharks, there's a reason. There's a signal you are sending. So what I would recommend is, I'm going to leave a link. You will see Intimacy Builder Program. Just click on that link, and then you book with that free session. Then based on that, we're going to feed that book session on Zoom or on any of the platforms, and then we can take it up from there. Okay?
Those assignments are not.
They are not funny. They are very, very hard.
They're transformational.
Transformational assignment. Okay. What will you advise about marrying someone a person is not attracted to? Do you think love will grow? Very good question. Love grows. Love grows, yes. But there must be a foundation. There must be some level of attraction. Yeah. How do I wake up in the morning? I'm not attracted to this woman. There's a level of attraction that you need to have. It might be cerebral. You might be attracted to the way she thinks. You might be attracted to the way she laughs. Something that is entrenched in her, not just about her looks. Attraction is in many vibes. Attraction is good to be attracted to things that don't change. You might be attracted to her level, a sense of integrity. One of the things I find attractive to my wife is very intelligent. When I share a dream with her, she can be very analytical and pull you. Another thing I get attracted about her work ethics is phenomenal. When we were doing our books, we released a pack of 4 books at the time, how she was managing things and doing things and running, I was just like, I said, wow, I've hit a jackpot. I'm attracted to her sense of humor. I'm attracted to her work ethics. So I'm attracted to her beauty, of course, but there are some other things that you find attractive. All right, I'm attracted to her intelligence because that's a level of life, that's a level of intelligence you want your spouse to have, so that communication will be easier. It's not when you have to explain and distill something every time. So we all have different attractions. So there should be some level of attraction. Physical attractions, mental attraction, social attraction, very critical, very important.
And even if it's not there, because I'll just throw in something there, where sometimes they would advise people not to spend, people of the opposite sex who are married, not to spend too much time together, because sometimes it does bad to a marriage. Why am I saying that? If the attraction is not there at the start, you could try spending more time together. When I say spending more time together, talk more. Try to understand your values, your interests. Maybe by the time you start discovering those, emotions will start to build. You see, but yes, there should be some level of attraction.
That's a very good point, because you can't love what you don't know. So the more you talk to, get to know the person, you begin to find things about them that you find attractive. All right, it's very, very important for you to have some level of attraction.
I hope we answered your question. Let us know.
Yeah, let us know in the comment section. Thank you, bro.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I did hit a jackpot. It's very important. If you are going to choose somebody you're going to spend the rest of your life, you make sure you watch your while. Make sure you watch your while. It doesn't mean that the person is going to be perfect, but the person should have some non-negotiables. All right, for me, non-negotiable is somebody I can grow with. Somebody I wanted a woman who can take initiative. I wanted a leader. So if I'm not around, she'll be able to run things, and she had demonstrated that a number of times. I wanted someone who I can also inspire, who I can help to fulfill her dreams as well. Because the general narrative is, the woman is there to help. You're also there to help her accomplish her dreams. So while I was doing PhD, she was doing a legal practice course. As I was graduating, she was graduating as well. I didn't want a woman whereby while I'm growing and getting better, and she is just there, she's not improving. No, I pushed her as much as she pushed me. And we are better for it. So not this kind of relationship where one person is growing and getting better. After a while, you're going to have what we call, there'll be a huge mental gap.
Mental incompatibility.
Mental incompatibility will expand.
Which would affect your mental intimacy.
Absolutely. So you are explaining something, she can't even flow at you. And sometimes it's the other way around. Okay? Very, very important. Very, very important.
Okay.
So thank you so much for your time. All of you that have joined us, we really appreciate you all.
Made it very interactive.
You made it very interactive and made it a lot of fun. Please share these videos with your friend, share it on your Facebook, share it to your WhatsApp, contact, into WhatsApp contact, share it in, among your friends. Let's spread this let's spread this love. Let's get more people to be able to break this fear and to be able to also understand some of what you have talked about. Yeah, because we have even answered some of the basic questions. Very, very important. Very, very important. Thank you so much. And please follow us on Instagram. All right. Our Instagram page handle is Foundation for Family Affairs. A lot of us are already following each other. Foundation for Family Affairs. We have a Facebook group community. It's called Foundation for Family. Just search for us. We have a Facebook page, same name, Foundation for Family Affairs. And then subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right. Let's build a better community together. Let's make your own marriage a role model marriage. Because the truth is that once your marriage is a role model marriage, you are going to transform many people without even saying a word. Yes. By people just watching your marriage. Let's build a community of great marriages. Okay, join us on this campaign, and let's make your marriage one marriage at a time, starting with your marriage. Okay, so join us, follow us, subscribe, share our YouTube link to people. Let them subscribe. Encourage them to subscribe, and let's do this together. All right. Thank you all.
All right. It's bye for now.
Bye for now.
God bless you.
God bless you all.